In the heart of an endless winter, nestled in a valley perpetually blanketed by snow, lay a small, forgotten village. Here, the currency wasn't gold or silver, but something far more precious and far more scarce: hope. The cold was a constant, seeping into the very bones of the houses and the hearts of the villagers. Day after day, the sun was a pale, distant memory, and the world was painted in shades of white and gray. The people grew weary, their shoulders stooped from the weight of the endless frost. Laughter was a forgotten language, and dreams were luxuries they could no longer afford. One bleak morning, a child, no older than 7, pointed towards the window of an abandoned cottage on the edge of the village. There, in the frosty glass, flickered a tiny, defiant flame, a single candle. It shouldn't have been possible. The cottage had been empty for years, and the relentless wind that howled through the valley should have snuffed out such a fragile light in an instant. Yet, it burned. It burned with a steady, unwavering warmth that seemed to mock the cold. News of the impossible candle spread like wildfire, paradoxically, through the frozen streets. Villagers, wrapped in their thickest coats and scarves, trudged through the deep snow to see it for themselves. They gathered in a hushed crowd, their breath misting in the frigid air. It was mesmerizing. It was a miracle. That tiny point of light became the center of their world. They called it the candle of everlasting hope. Every day the villagers would make a pilgrimage to the cottage. They didn't talk much. They just stood and watched. The old woman who had lost her husband to the frost felt a flicker of warmth in her chest for the first time in years. The young man who had given up on ever seeing spring again found himself imagining the green shoots that might one day break through the snow. The children, who had only ever known the cold, whispered stories about what the world might look like bathed in sunlight. They would bring it their quiet wishes, their silent prayers, their last embers of belief. The candle became a symbol. As long as it burned, they told each other there was a reason to keep going. It was their proof that even in the deepest, darkest winter, light could exist. They protected the idea of it, cherishing it, defending it from the biting wind and the creeping despair. The flame seemed to grow stronger, its golden glow more vibrant, casting a warm, inviting light that pushed back the shadows just a little bit more. The village began to change. People started to look each other in the eye again. A shared smile, a helping hand, a quiet word of encouragement. These small acts of kindness began to thaw the ice that had encased their spirits. But one day, a cynical traveler passing through scoffed at their devotion. He marched up to the cottage, determined to expose the trick. He began searching for a hidden mechanism, a secret oil reserve, anything that could explain the phenomenon. He found nothing. There was just a simple, half-melted candle sitting on a wooden sill. Confused and frustrated, he circled the cottage, his boots crunching in the snow. It was then that he noticed something extraordinary. The snow around the base of the cottage was slightly melted, not from the candle's heat, but from the collective warmth of the dozens of people who stood there every single day. He looked at their faces, truly looked at them. He saw the focus in their eyes, the intensity of their shared belief. He felt the energy radiating from the crowd, a palpable force of pure, concentrated hope. And in that moment, he understood. The candle wasn't burning on its own. It was never about the wax or the wick. The flame was being fed by them. It was a reflection. Every person who came to see the candle, who invested their belief in its tiny light, was unknowingly adding their own spark to the fire. The hope they thought they were receiving from the candle was actually the hope they were giving to it, and to each other. The candle was just a mirror, showing them the powerful light they held within themselves all along. The traveler left the village a changed man, with a story to tell not of a magic candle, but of the incredible power of a community's shared faith. The villagers never learned the secret, and perhaps they didn't need to. They just knew that in the coldest of winters, they had found a light that would never go out. Because the greatest hope isn't something you find out there in the darkness. It's the light you choose to create, the warmth you decide to share. It's the flame you kindle inside yourself and offer to the world. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales that warm the heart. Always remember, the surge begins within. Carry it forward.